Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today it's Tuesday and it's July the 2nd, 2024. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. I always say the tide changes so frequently on these YouTube streets, so you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. And our story today comes from the city of Charlotte here in North Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, North Carolina police officer caught stealing from resident during arrest. I'll provide you with a summary here, and I'll identify some of my sources for you in the description box. To many of us, our police departments are synonymous with honesty, along with protection and safety. Those words are frequently used because it emphasizes the basic components of the core value of our police department. But recently, one police department was forced to acknowledge that at least one of its officers had violated their code of conduct and was now facing criminal charges. So let's go back in time to an incident that took place earlier this year, and the date was March the 14th, 2024, and the location was a highway in the city of Charlotte here in North Carolina. A 29-year-old male resident of Charlotte was apprehended by police for speeding. The arrested officer indicated that the individual was driving beyond the established speed limit. Plus, it was noted that he also had an outstanding warrant. Nothing unusual about what had happened so far. In fact, it happens pretty frequently. An individual is stopped for one reason and they are found to have an outstanding warrant. And when this happens, the situation kind of changes because now they have to be taken into the police department in order to be processed. But the officer who stopped the gentleman, he couldn't be the one taking him in. So he had to transport the gentleman to a substation, and then another officer would take him into the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, and I refer to that as a transfer of custody. And during that transfer, the detainee began to verbalize loudly. He was making some very strong accusations. And it all had to do with money that the detainee stated he had in his possession. It was reported that the gentleman being arrested had a large amount of money, $8,000 to be exact, and it was being held together by a rubber band and probably in an envelope as well. And what was stated was that there were three individuals present, the detainee and two officers, and it was reported that while the initial officer was in patrol car, the other two heard the rubber band snap and saw that officer moving money between his legs over to the driver's side of the patrol car. So in other words, he snapped up that rubber band, took some of the money off, and moved it over to the side of the door, allegedly to steal it. And just because you're being arrested, that doesn't mean that you don't know what you came into in the situation with. So the man knew he had money, and he saw that the police officer take some of that money. So he was very vocal, and he was complaining to another officer that this police officer had taken his money. And of course, the officer in question denied knowing anything about what the arrestee was talking about. He was insisting he didn't know anything about it, and eventually someone else came on board, and I believe it said a sergeant, and they did search the car, the patrol car, and they found $900 exactly where the detainee said he saw him put the money. So now the arresting officer eventually admitted that he took the money, but stated he had no intentions of stealing it. So the officer in question was now subject to an investigation, and he was placed on unpaid administrative leave as the police leadership looked into the matter. Later on, he was charged with embezzlement, and he resigned from the police force the day after his arrest. That officer was identified as Henry Chapman, currently assigned or was assigned to the University Division, and he had been with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Division since 2009. And as word of this incident became more public, news sources were seeking to review the body cam video of that incident. Now, I'm sure initially the police department refused to give it up, and the media petitioned the court under the Freedom of Information Act. And last week, there was a court order permitting the public to have access to the video, permitting the media to have access to the video so that they could review the interactions that took place that day in March of this year. And this is a still frame from that video, that body cam video. And it was very embarrassing to watch. The detainee, which is the man in the red sweater to the left, he repeatedly said that he saw the officer crumple up the money and he told them exactly how much it was going to be and where he had seen him put it in the car. And I have to tell you, if he was not that vocal, he never would have gotten that money back. But exactly what he told them when they looked in the pocket of the driver's side of that patrol car, that's exactly what they found, $900. And all this was happening as the police officer pictured on the right, that male police officer, repeatedly said that he had not taken that money. It was only after he got caught, then he admitted he took it, but he had no intentions of stealing it. Make no sense at all. And as I already mentioned, Officer Chapman was arrested and charged with embezzlement. And I am sure this is something a chief of a department never wants to do, especially when it has to do with a police officer. But the chief had to come out and issue a statement, did acknowledging that the video did show the officer stealing the money from the person who was in custody. And he also stated that the actions were contradiction to what we, meaning the police department, stand for. He also stated this incident does not represent or define the men and women of Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department who show up every day and night to serve our community. While one officer did violate his oath, thousands more are still here and stand strong on the oath they took, which I completely agree. And former Officer Chapman has already had his first day in court. I did not see where he had ended a plea, but it did say the case was being continued. So it means that there's more to follow. But you know, this is such an unfortunate case. You have a seasoned police officer exercising poor judgment, which has definitely cost him his career. We never really understand why people do the things they do, but you have to admit, by all accounts, this was just really, really, really stupid. But it also calls into question whether or not something like this could have happened in the past. And not only does it put his actions under scrutiny, it also places the actions of other police officers under scrutiny as well. But I'll try to stay on top of this case and bring you updates should they become available. And that's all I have for you right now, but feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video, and by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks like just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.